Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about for a very interesting topic, which is how to use informative interviews to land your dream job. So let's start. Throughout the last years, maybe you have heard from your parents, your teachers, your friends that getting a job is more complicated than usual. And it is true, because if you trust and continue using the same methods to get a job, you will run the risk that these traditional methods do not work as you will expect. If your resume comes from a job or from a list of Indeed, you are at a complete disadvantage. Because nowadays there are better ways to attract the attention of a company. The article mentioned a brief story of a young woman named Roxy King who lives this experience. She mentioned that when she was in the second semester of college, she entered a paid internship program, which means that after finishing her degree, she would have 5 years of experience. But this didn't mean that she would have a guaranteed job. So she had to look for her own work because her resume was not so surprising, and if they were based only by hiring from resume, she would have a high probability to be rejected. Therefore, she did two things. The first one, search a work 3 months before anyone else, and then she made calls and appointments with professionals because this increased the probabilities to get a job. Now we're gonna explain the details of how to apply this strategy. The first step will be, why should I talk to people when I can get the same information online? Well, it is important to socialize with people with experience because you cannot replace the experience physical work by online knowledge. In other words, it is better when you interact directly with the person because you can get detailed information about how the company or the industry will be and give you an idea of which are the activities that exist. Another important point to consider is the experience that you will acquire and also the appropriate vocabulary for future interviews. Also, this will help you to know if the company or industry is for your liking. The second step talk about networking, and when we talk about networking, we don't refer to dress well and use a different vocabulary. Rather, it refers how to build a good relationship with the person to show them interest with the topic. It's better than squeezing the person from the beginning.
Hello, my name is Rogelio Peña and I'm going to answer some of your questions. So, who do I reach out in a coffee meeting? Usually, people start with the higher-ups and the VIPs of the company that you are interested in. You talk to them in a nice way and ask them for their mail, writing a fan mail asking them for a job, and the last step is getting rejected or getting no response from the company or the person that you talk to. This is very dismotivating for people because they get no response, and people usually ends up not doing networking in the future. So it is very important for people to start with not a very higher up positions people, but with someone that is in your same level or that is lower than the VIPs. Firstly, it is very important to have a connection with someone in the coffee meeting that is in some way related to you, like a friend of a friend, a family friend, or even your familiar that has some relationship with the company. This will serve you as your warm outreach to the company. However, you're going to use this warm outreach to have cold outreach with some people in the company that could help you have an objective perspective about the company and talk to them if the company suits to you, because it is not about getting information about how to get a job in there. It is about if you want to get a job in there. So it is very important for you to reach out to people to know if it's the company, it's for you. Now that you have a list of about 20 people of cold outreach, you can move on to the next step. How do I reach out with the people in a coffee meeting? Without the intention to squeeze a job out of your connections that you've made, uh, you need to consider two more points, which are this is only for getting a professional advice in the job that you're interested in, and secondly, it is not about them giving you a job, so keep that in mind. With the 20 people that you were interested in to talk, preferably via email, send them a message. This message should be short, about 5 sentences long. It should be specific, right to the topic in what you're interested about in the meeting, casual, because if you have a very complex conversation with that person, it's going to be very demotivating for the person you want to meet, for them to meet you, and it needs to be a very easy to say yes email, because they need to say yes, right? Try something like this. Hey Pedro, I was browsing through your magazine of Bienes Raíces and I was very interested in your architecture work in Santa Catarina. I wanted to talk to you about your work. Do you have any 10 minutes for a coffee, for a phone call, or even through this email for you to respond me to these questions? I work with these times, and then you attach your times or your schedule in this email. And then lastly, if you should say that you can adjust for in their schedule, so that person that you're asking about their work is more interested to say yes. Okay, and what happens if that person doesn't respond to your previous email? If this happens within a week, you should consider sending an email in the same email that you sent them, like a reply. Something very friendly and it isn't as direct and confrontational for the person you were asking about for a meeting. Try something like this. Hey Pedro, I just wanted this email to appear in your inbox. If the times that I didn't specify in my previous email doesn't work, just let me know and we can have a quick phone call, or you can ask me the questions that I had through this email. Then you close it out, yours, Roger, and that's it. So what happens if this person says no to the second email or never responds to your email? You should shake it off. There are a lot of companies that are interested in your skills, and you shouldn't just focus in this company that you're interested. You shouldn't expect a 100% success in everything that you do in your life. So there are plenty of companies that are interested in what you're doing, and you should move on with your networking into another company.
Hello, my name is Regina Villarreal and I'm going to talk to you about what to do at the meeting. Okay, first of all, congratulations. Someone agreed to meet up with you for a phone call or coffee. Awesome. Next, 24 hours before, send a reminder email. If you really want to impress someone, include a 3-point agenda and ask them how they like their coffee. This way you don't have to go through the awkwardness of who picks up the coffee. Prepare more questions than you need. It's better to have a lot of questions to pick from than to be scrambling around for something to ask. You don't have to go through all of them. For a 20-minute phone call, I would like to prepare questions about the job, the industry, and the company. Take notes on action items. Have a notebook or a piece of paper to take down people or companies they mention, industries to research later, and any sources to check out. These details will help you with your follow-up later. Keep the conversation flowing. These questions are just jumping off points for a productive conversation. Let your contact talk about things in their job that they think are worth mentioning. Set a vibrating alarm to end the meeting. When it goes off, say, I just want to be respectful of your time. We are at 15 minutes right now, so if you have to go, please feel free to let me know. What to do after the meeting? Most people drop the ball after the coffee meeting or phone call. They simply disappear and you will never hear from them again until the next time they need something from you. 24 to 48 hours after the meeting, send a thank you email. Include your biggest takeaway or to-do from the meeting, whether that's reaching out to someone you mentioned or reading up about a specific company they want to work at. 1 week after the meeting, send them one article, video, or podcast episode that you think they would like. 2 to 3 weeks after the meeting, let them know what actions you have taken since you met. If you have done everything right up to this point, you have shown them what you have do if they introduce you to someone. This is how networks grow and how two performers get the job. And if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, after reading all the way down here, you might be feeling overwhelmed at all the things you have to do. Even if you didn't land a summer job because you were out meeting people, I'm confident that you could get a job next fall or summer. When the times come, you can just reach out to your network and say, "Hey guys, I'm looking for a job in summer at the bank. If you guys know any hiring managers, please introduce me." From there, you're off to the races while everyone else is still updating their resumes. Let the games begin.
Contrary to the ordinary belief that you should have a formal approach with the company that you are interested in when asking for a job, in these days it is very important for people to outstand between all the people that you're competing with. Therefore, it is very important in these days to have a very informal approach with the company that you are interested in. Therefore, it is very important to have a relationship in some way with the company that is in the same level that you are. Therefore, this should serve you for getting a job interview or in some way getting an opportunity for you to interact or work for this company.
Well, in my opinion, it's very important to consider all these points because in the future will be relevant. So keep it in mind. Nowadays, our world has changed a lot and quickly, and we have to adapt ourselves to all these changes. So that's why we need to prepare and organize ourselves to face any circumstance. Thank you for your attention.